So I've been thinking a lot about like how education shapes who we are. You know, I've been trying to get involved in some educational spaces, and just being around people, I've been able to see the difference between what I was taught growing up about how important education is and what I'm seeing in real life, you know, like as an adult, you know. So like I'm thinking, and also just looking at my community, you know, like I call it the mandem, you know, like, you know, I mean, we all call it the mandem, but just looking at that community and how it treats education had me thinking about like, have we been mistaught, or have we been shown education in the wrong light? You know, it's education how it's taught in schools and certain demographical schools. Is that the wrong way for us to kind of like be teaching education to the mandem? And because I see it as I go older that like they care less and less, but I'm seeing it in these spaces that like these things are actually super important.
Very important.
You know, these things are actually like super important. And so, yeah, so quick first question for you is that what was your relationship with education growing up? How has it changed as you've grown older, and what do you think about it now?
Yeah, really good question firstly. So I'll be real, just for context, I'm from a single parent household. Most people watching this will know my journey because they know me personally. Single parent household, and due to that, I grew up with my mum and my grandma. They were on it from the jump. They were like, this kid's gonna. I wanted to play FIFA, man, but they were like, you're gonna like. My mum put me in quite a lot of hobbies as well. I just had no consistency. I was always switching what I wanted to do. 1 minute I was doing keyboard, next minute I was drumming. 1 minute I was doing taekwondo, next minute I wasn't feeling it. No consistency. But we'll get into that probably in the latter part of the episode. However, when it comes to actual education, due to the fact that from a young, my mum and grandma were on it with getting me extra tutoring lessons, reading, all that kind of stuff, I was ahead of the curve. Like when I was in year 1, I knew stuff that year 3s were learning. And I think that led me to not only become bored of education, because my auntie used to tutor me, big up my Auntie Joan, right? She used to tutor me, right? So my mum would pay her and she'd come down and tutor me over today. And I would actually sitting there on Sunday morning watching SpongeBob, yeah? And like, say like it's 11 she was coming. 11:05, she's not here. I'd be gassed. Like, oh, she's not coming. Next, you know, I hear the knock. Oh, man, come on, man. Damn it. Yeah. But it's a thing where I think that made me, and that's no fault of anyone else. I'm not going to blame anyone for that. That's just, I was a kid, right? I wanted to have fun. When I'm in school, I'm an only child. I see other kids my age. I want to go and chat to them and be cool and stuff. But even in school, the way I was treated by teachers, and my peers as well, if I'm honest, didn't make me have the best relationship with education. So I was very misunderstood. People in my year tell me now, like people I went to secondary school with, they tell me you were very misunderstood, which I agree with personally, because I was labelled as this bad kid in primary school and secondary school. They were saying, oh, they wanted to send me to a pupil referral unit. It's like they were training me to be in a pupil referral unit. So it was kind of strange to me. Like I got picked on quite a bit. I wasn't perfect either, to be honest. I would say I've said stuff. There's stuff I've said to people and to people in school that I do regret. So I wasn't perfect myself, but it just felt like I was treated differently. Whereas somebody would say, Jonas, you're blick. I'd say, oh, you're short. Oh, Jonas, you can't say that. Jonas, your mum this. Oh, your mum that. Oh, Jonas, you can't say that. Like, bro, what do you mean? The double standards are crazy. But, you know, we move. Like, it's all life lessons. So in school, I didn't really enjoy it. I was just there to have fun. But year 11, that's when year 10, like mid-year 10 is when I was like, all right, my fun's done now, let's lock in. So I locked in, got my grades, move on to sixth form. Sixth form comes, like I was an animal. Like educationally, I was an academic weapon when I was in sixth form. Like my sixth form, they rated me so highly, the teachers, that it was weird to me. But then I was sitting there. Obviously, I'm from a single parent household. My mum's been struggling my whole life. I've seen my mum slowly lose everything the older I've gotten. And I've seen certain guys I know doing fraud and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, I'm from South London, people doing drugs and stuff like that. I've seen some mad stuff, like growing up in South. I've seen some mad stuff I've nearly been involved in without me even wanting to be involved in mad things, just implicated just from being around, being in a certain school, going home in the area, nearly implicated in things that I didn't want to be involved at all. And essentially, my mum wanted me to go be the first to go to uni and all that. I rate uni personally. It's a hot take from me. I rate uni. I think you should get your degree personally, right? But for me, I was like, I want to make money legit. So when I found out I could get an apprenticeship at 16, 17, I was like, why am I here? So I down tools in sixth form, and I just said, forget this. I'm putting all my effort into getting an apprenticeship. I got my apprenticeship. I left education, and I was more in obviously apprenticeship is still education. So I was doing my apprenticeships and all that kind of stuff. But as I got older, I was still into personal development, right? So I was doing my personal development stuff, all the whole Think and Grow Riches, Atomic Habits, Rich Dad, Poor Dad stuff, right? But this year more so, and maybe even a couple years ago, but mainly this year, maybe even last year, like late last year, I started getting more into things like philosophy and stuff like that. I wanted to be more interested in that. And then I realized I still want to be involved in there's still academic subjects I want to learn that you learn in school, like the sciences. However, I want to learn about linguistics and stuff like that as well. There's other topics that I'm starting to learn. Astronomy is another thing, right? There's other topics I'm starting to learn that I'm like, this stuff is cool, man. Like, because even I know someone that did philosophy in uni, and they said to me, it's more fun learning philosophy on your own than doing a course on it that you're studying for. That probably is true. I don't know. I've never done philosophy in a school sense. I enjoy the philosophy I learn. I can choose who I want to learn about. If I want to learn about women's philosophers, who I think we can both agree people don't talk about enough. It's usually, unfortunately, the men that are only spoken about. But I know so many amazing women's philosophers. That's the stuff I learn. So I'm stuff I like, I should say. So I prefer the informal education because I'm also the type of person that I like liberation. I like freedom to do what I want. So I can be told you have to study this, that, and the other now, but I still obviously prefer saying, what's Jonas's curriculum? Because there's other things that I want to learn, and I'm learning, like Black history and Pan-Africanism. I've been learning about that stuff for quite a while now. So there's a beauty in being able to choose what you want to learn. And I think education, I'm a big advocate for it. One of the young guys that I know, he's 18, just went to uni. He had my American football and my ball pump, so I needed to go get it before he ran off to his uni out of London. And I was talking to him and I told him, I was giving him, he didn't ask for the advice. I hate giving unsolicited advice, but I was like, this is uni. Like, this is your big boy now. Like, I've known you since you were 12. So I said to him, one of the things I said to him, the priority is the degree. You need to get the priority is a degree. I'm a big advocate for people getting their degrees.
Absolutely.
Because people will use that as a excuse to not give you roles or a pay raise and all that kind of stuff, right? I think things are changing a bit now, so I've heard. But I still think people, especially Black people, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Black people, you can't give people excuses already to reject you.
100%. And look, I want to get into, I love how you laid it out because it gives me good pointers. I want to get into so many of that. So starting off actually with the beginning, because you mentioned something that's super interesting about being educated by your auntie and obviously your mum and your grandma. Shout out to them, because
shout out to them.
It was kind of similar in my experience too. Like, I was very much instilled a love of learning from my mum and my sisters, who would just always tell me you gotta read, you gotta do this, and they would only let me off certain events, or I could only go to sleep after a certain time if I was reading, if I was doing homework, and that incentivized me to kind of want to read. And so all of these stuff kind of built up early on. But I've been thinking also, I want to know what you think about this too, about formal education. So we're talking about the institution, talking about going to schools, and informal education. So stuff that you learn from your family, stuff that you learn from your culture. And I'm thinking both are very important, but which one do you think shapes a person more? And which one do you think shaped you more, actually, if you want to get more deeper into that?
That's a really good question again. I'll be real. If you're talking about shaping a person, people's formative years are their teenage years and their latter childhood years, like pre-teen years. You're in school more than you're with your family, if we're honest. So I think it's formal education, if I'm honest. That's where a lot of people's mannerisms, dialects are all shaped.
Habits,
exactly.
Yeah.
For example, me going to school in ends, and people don't think I'm from ends when they meet me, which whether someone does or doesn't think I'm from ends, I don't really care. I'm still Jonas.
Yeah.
But you can, whether someone went to school in ends or someone that lives in ends went to a private school or a grammar school, it can shape that person.
Absolutely.
It can make them think about what's really cool, what's not, all that kind of stuff. So I think formal education, because also you have to make a choice when you're older to engage in informal education. We go to debate events, we go to chess, for example, we go to lectures. We choose to go to these things. We invest our money to go to these things because we know it can develop us and we can learn from amazing people, right? a lot of people aren't that way inclined. They get to our ages and they want a club. Which, if you want to, I'm not a clubbing guy. I don't enjoy clubbing. I think it's a waste of money and a waste of time.
I agree.
But like, if my friends from like Birmingham come down one day, they're like, Jonas, I want to go to a club. I'm like, you ain't experienced it, so I'll go, and I know where to go for clubs. Like, I did my time. Like, I know where to go, so I'll show you where to go, and I'll stay with you I'll come clubbing with you, but on a consistent basis. I don't feel the need, but a lot of people are like, yes, I'm going to go out and party, which I understand why people are that way inclined. But then there's other people who prefer games nights, for example. I go to a few games nights. I'm going to them less now, but I do engage and go to games nights where I can meet people in third spaces. But what I'm starting to like now is just going to, sometimes just chilling in an independent coffee shop, reading my book or working. I don't have to talk to somebody. I don't really, if I'm honest, really or forced myself to talk to somebody, but I will go. Like, even the Africa Centre in London Bridge, I went there after work, literally the day before I went to Italy. I was meeting so many intelligent Pan-Africanists and people, and I was like, I need to come back here. They've got a Senegalese restaurant, they've got like African drinks being sold.
Okay, cool.
You'll like it. They've even got an art exhibitions and stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you need to tell me about that.
Yeah. So it's really good, the Africa Centre.
Yeah.
And they even do discussions on a discussion on Congo and all these other great African thinkers and stuff like that. That's what you choose to go into. That's the informal education you choose to surround yourself with. But formal education shapes you because you don't choose to be in formal education.
Let's talk about that then, because to me, I see the biggest problem, or like, you know, the biggest things is holding back Mandem, because you said some really good things on your first thing too about how never give a reason for people to reject you.
Yeah.
Never give a reason for people, especially if you're black, people to say no to you. And I feel like a lot of Mandem, they do that way early on with either their behavior, which you can't really control, especially at that age. And then you start to like, you know, like you talk about, they start to put a kind of reputation on you. You're the bad kid.
Yeah.
And so you're like, you have to now be, you know, no matter what you do, I remember about being in classroom, right? I'll be talking to someone, and because I was known as a person who talked, that person would be like, "Oh, why are you talking, Jeff? What do you mean I'm talking to someone?
That's happened to me,
How we both not getting in trouble?" He's like, "No, you're the one talking. Why did you talk to him?"
Yeah.
So these stuff, it becomes a reputation thing, and like you kind of like you struggle to get past it as you get older and older. I'm focused on what I want to talk about today. I'm focused on how we figure that out. What is the issue there? How do people, you know, like you were saying, when they get older, not lean towards education more, not lean towards lectures, but actually they start going clubbing and just saying, forget education, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I've done with uni. But like, you know, they start to like lose themselves. And not, I mean, you can do what you want. Any person, you know, this is your life. But I feel like you don't grow, you don't, if you don't keep educating yourself, and if you don't keep learning, you've kind of become stagnant a little bit.
Yeah.
And like, if a whole culture is built on that, that's a problem, because like, how do we teach the next generation to be more education focused? And then linking that in also, talk about class, like the people in the upper class aren't doing that.
No, they're not.
They're not doing that. They're teaching them kids very, very young how to like focus in this. And you go to these like lectures, you see everyone from the upper class there, even old people. So I'm seeing it and I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, okay, cool, there must be a disconnect here. So like, how do we, first, just can you comment on that disconnect? Where do you think we are going wrong as Mandem, let's say, from like when we finish uni to when we start going clubbing? Like, why do you think we choose that path instead of that one?